everybody. We are back here again. I'm the Mutt.
I'm the Hippie.
And we're here today with our friend.
I'm the meatball. Meatball in the middle.
Our good buddy Dondo.
That's right. Glad to be
Gym Crashers.
Gym Crashers. All right, so let's get right into it, man. You are the founding member of Gym Crashers, correct?
Yes. We had interesting beginnings, and we were doing other things, and then Gym Crashers was kind of an evolution of what took place at that time. We started out as what was called Full Contact Fanatics because we like full contact sports.
Awesome, dude.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about Gym Crashers. I know you guys hop from gym to gym just to, get some interviews and, kind of just network there. But how has that experience been?
It's cool. So we come from the fight mecca of the world. People come here to learn how to fight. It's one of the biggest places for MMA. It's us. It's L.A., Orange County, San Diego. Then there's Vegas, of course, has a pretty good amount of MMA and Jiu-Jitsu going on. Florida, of course. A lot of Brazilian places over there, too.
Awesome. Yeah.
But, so we have a good network of people that we see because of what we do with Spar Stars, CXF, Lights Out, Epic down in San Diego. And that's just MMA stuff. Then there's, the jiu-jitsu stuff that we do too. So all these people that we're touching hands with, talking to, getting interviews with, and then we would invite them back to our studio. When we started Gym Crashers, I had the mini dojo, and it was adjacent to our podcast studio, so we could do Technique of the Week, and then want to go back and roll with people because we were just learning a little bit. Guys like Mike are doing, jiu-jitsu on the beach, jiu-jitsu in the park, so we got to be a part of that. That's some cool stuff, and not only is it cool to be a part of, but it's teaching kids that there's more out there.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's what we really wanted to be a part of, and to find out what people that were doing things different. So we know jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai is kind of like the basic mix, but then there's Sambo, American kickboxing, some Kung Fu styles, Kempo, Taekwondo, different things that are traditional that haven't found their way necessarily to the forefront of what we know as mixed martial arts now, but they're in the background. People have those backgrounds like Lyoto Machida.
Right, yes.
Hogan,
yeah.
Great kicks, man. Right? Taekwondo.
I think he has the record on the strongest kick, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I know I met you a couple years back, at the previous gym that I was training at, but ever since then we kind of just clicked. We've been good buddies, and I pretty much enjoyed myself, the times we spent, and I'm looking forward to building a stronger relationship with you.
For me, it was instant. Like, I knew you were my homie. Like, some people you meet and then you develop things and, you have a working relationship and then you work on things over time. But there's some people you meet, you feel like you know them your whole life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mike was that guy. Like, I think we met once and I just felt like I knew him forever. It's like, oh, this is my homie Mike. You know what I mean? And Magda too. Like, I really felt like that. And my homeboy Eric, he comes with a camera on the boat, and I'm like, oh, this is the guy. Yeah. So exactly. I don't warm up with everybody, but when I do, it's those bonds can't be broken. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know who your people are. Yeah. So you guys, I love being a part of your crew. So I felt like that from the beginning. It wasn't that I was visiting. I felt like, oh, I'm part of this crew. Like, these are my people. You know what I mean?
It's our crew, not...
Yeah. See, I love that. Yeah.
The new sweater that you just brought me right now, what does it say?
Yep. Us and we.
Yeah.
Not I or me. I dig that, too.
Man, come on.
I love this guy. But that's the Gym Crasher motto. So, I probably fell off of the question a little bit. So Gym Crashers is really about going out, finding out what really is going on out there for the mixed styles. Because we're all... not just jiu-jitsu guys, or not just us, I should say. Yeah. I do have friends that just do jiu-jitsu strictly, and it's sport jiu-jitsu, but, we come from the mixed martial arts background. So I was curious as to what people were doing that was different, and there's some really cool stuff just in L.A., Orange County.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Getting on that topic right there, as far as you just said, sport jiu-jitsu. And we come from a background where it's just a traditional mixed martial art, right? Mm-hmm. What's your point of view on those two right there?
okay, I'm a little older than you guys, and my instructor's a little older than your instructors have been as well. So we're rooted in probably that first generation of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that came to this country in the 90s, where it was considered vale tudo. Because striking was still involved in Jiu-Jitsu. It was still, and not that it is separated completely, but there is a practice of Jiu-Jitsu that is just grappling now, and there's, of course, the mixed martial arts part where we're learning to elbow on the ground, punch on the ground,
Right, exactly.
hold strong positions, from the top. So there are two Jiu-Jitsus now, and it's one is a fighting art that has come from Jigoro Kano to Mitsuyo Maeda to the Gracie family to this country. And that same lineage can be said for, what has become sport jiu-jitsu, except that they've adapted certain things to get points to find out who's going to be the winner, not knock them out or choke them,
Okay.
So I think they're both, they're closely related.
Okay.
And the right instructors have taken the responsibility of making sure their students know. There's been great people that we've worked with that have even showed me that they strike to open something up and then they grab it. You know what I mean? So it leads to that. And I've learned from some people that don't strike at all and they're fabulous. You know what I mean? Off the Richter scale, right?
Okay.
But I come from the old school.
Yeah, exactly.
And I respect the fighting art. The sport of jiu-jitsu is a wonderful thing, and it's progressing and growing. And there are incredible new ways of looking at it that have been incorporated in this country, not anywhere else. So it's grown since November 11th, 1993, when the UFC first did their show, till now.
Yeah.
And Hoist was winning those fights.
Right,
It's a different game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay? So much respect for that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get the point, your point of view, just because we come from the old school.
Yeah.
Even though you're a little older than me, I
Yeah.
did start in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I respect both, but I, stick with my old traditional jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And, as years go by, it's been evolving and, there's a lot of interesting things also as well.
Well, do you think that the popularity of jiu-jitsu also comes from like media, like movies and television, where like like now in like a lot of movies, like action movies, like you see a lot of grappling now, and
I wonder if movies were influenced by jiu-jitsu.
so
I really do, because so we know that Al Bundy, black belt under the Gracies, like your school, you were there at one time. So that's a big guy, man, and that's the 90s. Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon, he's learning from, I think, not Hoist, but one of the other brothers, the one that fought Eddie Bravo. I think that was the one, Hoyler. I think that's the one that tied Mel Gibson. So there's already, like, jiu-jitsu before people even knew it was jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And he was doing arm bars and stuff. Bruce Lee did it in Game of Death, I think. There was an arm bar in there. Early Bruce Lee films in the 70s.
the guillotine and Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, right. Enter the Dragon had it, yeah. Maybe his position wasn't correct.
Yeah.
But the idea was there. So movies have had it. I think jiu-jitsu has become more popular, and then they've adapted to it.
Okay.
I don't think it came from the movies. I think people know from the UFC.
Yeah.
I think the UFC kind of exposed what the dominant art forms were for fighting.
Oh, okay.
That's what my understanding. And then they whittled through it because they were winning with jiu-jitsu. And then they figured out the game. And it's evolved and changed. We saw it go to striking and then back on the ground and,
Right.
So it's part of the evolution.
Cool. And speaking on the evolution of jiu-jitsu, do you ever think that jiu-jitsu will ever be part of the Olympics? Like, do you ever think that jiu-jitsu will become an Olympic sport like judo and wrestling?
I certainly hope so. Similar subject, surfing will be a part of the Olympics soon. That's already been accepted.
Okay.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's harder to get consistent waves for an Olympic sport on a specific time period in a specific country than it would be to get the best jiu-jitsu people to roll well.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think it's possible? Yes. It needs to become more exciting. So I think that will come with a rule set. It will become it has to start standing because people don't understand what the intricacies of what goes on the ground.
Exactly.
We can see little micro movements, but the average viewer is like, are they going to lay there all day? You know what I mean? That's just the perception. So in order to be an Olympic sport, I think it would have to be
exciting.
something. There has to be a rule set to make it exciting.
So I think that kind of like garners back to the whole sports jiu-jitsu thing, because I think like within the last few years, sports jiu-jitsu has become so popular because it's exciting now with guys like Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones, fucking
savages
doing crazy shit. And so yeah, I mean, maybe we will see jiu-jitsu in the Olympics.
Well, interestingly enough, judo and the suffix do or jutsu in Japanese, do is the way and jutsu is the art. So one, I guess, would be like the way is kind of like the sport side of it, and then jutsu being the art. So judo and jujutsu. So it's already in the Olympics. Judo is a close relative of jiu-jitsu, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was developed into that Olympic sport, which became modern judo. Modern judo, as we know it, is because of the Olympics. But it was more closely related to what we know as jiu-jitsu at one time in the early 1900s, I believe. But then they had to put a point structure together and the throws and all that stuff. So it is there. But yeah, I mean, maybe there's something there with judo and jiu-jitsu that can be combined.
Yeah, cool. You know? And how did you start training jiu-jitsu? Like, what led you down that path?
I was surfing a lot, and I lived in Hawaii, and over there, you just don't hop off a plane and have your board that was from Huntington Beach, California, and they're not going to like you very much. Hey, bro. Where you from? You know what I mean? So they'll bust your board in half. So
you're gonna paddle back to Huntington Beach.
That's right, Long Beach, whatever. It's closer to home.
Beach. They'll make you paddle back.
So I've been in my share of stuff over there because I went back and forth quite a bit. Started going over there with my dad in '85. Wow. So we spent enough time on the beaches over there. My dad surfs. To kind of know what's up. So, and fighting, it was just a natural thing for me. So I thought, well, shit, I might as well be able to choke someone out on the sand, right? Yeah. I never thought, I'm going to do this to go be in the UFC. It was always, I want to be the toughest guy on the beach. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, got to be able to take care of yourself, right? Yep. Whatever beach you're on.
Exactly.
So, I fell in love with it and actually did not surf as much. I was at the dojo 5 to 7 days a week.
Training.
For years. Yeah. And it was a different world for me, a different challenge for me. Impact is something the body has to get used to. I think jiu-jitsu as well as surfing. Guys get off a plane, they come to the wedge in Newport, it's breaking 15 feet, and there's always an EMT, there's always an ambulance.
Exactly.
Because they break their neck or break their back or just get twisted up, and it's because their body's not ready for that impact or that, and they go straight down the face of the wave, and then bam, you know what I mean? They don't do a lot of working on their skill before they try to tackle something big. And I'm sure that happens in Hawaii and other places. So I've seen it, and I know that much like being in jiu-jitsu, you got to prepare your body for that. So I like the impact. I like the vibe of both. So that's kind of how I started. I knew that in Hawaii they were doing, this is the truth, they were doing a more mixed style of fighting. They called it Kaju Kempo.
Oh, okay.
So that was going on in the 80s.
Do you remember your first class?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got beat up. So here's a crazy story, but it's the truth. Robert and I lived in Laguna Niguel at the time.
Oh, is that where you met Robert?
No, I met Robert in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the west shore of Oahu, which is the tough shore. It's like Waianae. That's where Max and those guys, come from. Waianae, that side. He was working at a Papa Joe's Pizza. Uh-huh. And he was the kid that would, put everything on it, So I'm an eater, naturally. That guy makes a pizza. You know what I mean? But we didn't become friends right then and there. A year or so later, after 9/11, 2001, kid comes into my work with a big old afro, and he just looked familiar to me. Yeah. And he spoke a little bit of Pidgin. He didn't really have the clear English that we have here in California. So I'm like, I know that guy. And it took a while. Like, we worked together. Same company I'm with now still. And one day I just thought, are you that guy? He's like, oh, my God, I thought I recognized you. And then we've been side by side ever since.
Wow.
And what's really weird is I felt that calling to move to Hawaii, to be there, to surf, that was my lifestyle. I didn't have jiu-jitsu yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And I came back after 9/11, and my son had said, "Are we ever going to move back?" Because he really liked it. And I'm like, sometimes like life pulls you in a direction, and you don't realize that maybe it's not. Hawaii was coming to me. Robert was coming to me. I didn't need to go because we've been inseparable since. I didn't realize that the part of the island was coming to me.
Yeah.
And we have, that gravity. We've just stuck together ever since. And the day that I was thinking, or actually went to a Hoist Gracie school in Laguna Niguel where I lived, I called Robert, and actually he called me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm checking out this Hoist Gracie school because I'm going to start doing jiu-jitsu." He's all, "Oh my God." He's like, and he lived up, Orange County by Stanton,
right.
Different areas. Like, "I'm doing the same thing, but up here. Just come up here and we'll do it together." Well, it's 30 miles away. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, wait, I work in that direction. Okay, we could work this out.
Yeah.
And we went to a few spots. He even, because, being cheap and everything, I want to spend a lot of money, took me to a community center, Stanton Community Center, and there's some guy lining people up and bowing. I'm like, oh, this is not what I want to do. I was looking for something less traditional.
Yeah.
And that's what jiu-jitsu was. It was breaking away from the traditional arts. I know it's found its way back, but there was a time when it was less traditional and it was more vale tudo. And that's what we were looking for. So we went to a few different spots right there in a 2 to 3 mile radius. And they're all very family-oriented, which is fine. I think that's great, but it wasn't what we wanted. We went to a place in a more industrial area, and I saw stickers, and they said, in my opinion, it said De Lao. I thought maybe he's Filipino or something. I'm all, okay, let's go try Mr. De Lao. You know what I mean?
De Lao.
Yeah, that's what I thought it said. That's how it's spelled. So I walk.
Does he know this story?
He knows. Yeah, he probably tried to kill me for saying it. But we walk in, and Robert's in pretty good shape at that time, coming from Hawaii. He was a younger guy, and we thought we were tough. We just, because we had both fought plenty over there and plenty over here for that matter. And I walk in, and I'm a talker, so I say, "Hey, Mr. De Lao." And he looks at me like, "The fuck is this guy?" He was never nice to me, and I didn't expect it either. But I was trying to.
Even till this day, huh?
Not even till this day, he's a little rough. Yeah, he has his rough ways, and his first statement to both of us was, "What the f do you two want?" Not
you can curse.
Yeah. It is, well, what the fuck you guys want? And well, we're here to fight because we saw the cage and we were mesmerized. We're like, oh my God, he has a cage. Because when you've never been in a cage, it's almost like you're gonna be locked with lions like a gladiator. You're like, oh my God, he has a cage. At that time we were like, whoa. And we actually thought we had skills. So he said, we'll put on some gloves, and then one of us went and grappled, and one of us put on. I think I put on gloves first, and he grabbed one of the girls, and said, "Here, take care of this guy." I didn't know what that meant, but he probably went. He probably gave him the signal to kill me, because I put my hands up, got a decent stance going, thought that was everything in the world, and all of a sudden just whack. And then I looked around like Chris Tucker. I'm like, which one of y'all just did that shit? You know what I mean? And I was trying to be funny, as I always do, bring humor to stuff. And then I kind of just went for it. Then I started swinging, and I missed her. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I swung, and I missed her. And I overswung, like I was left myself exposed.
Yeah.
And she got me again. And I went, uh-oh, something's going on here.
Yeah.
This girl's been doing this for a while. There's a reason why he put her up against me. And she beat me up for the next round for probably 3 minutes. I was out of breath, and then we continued with an hour-and-a-half class, which was a sparring class. We didn't realize, I think we went there on a Friday, and it was full contact Friday, what we called it. So whether you're on the ground or in the cage or in the ring, 'cause we had a ring at that time.
Beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, you were swinging for the fences, and if you're new, they were beating you up to a certain level. I mean, when you're again brand new, any impact is new to you. You're like, I got beat up. We came to love this, and we were doing it every Friday night, where we loved every bit of it.
I like getting punched in the face. I'm coming back.
We learned not to. You learn to bob and weave, right? You learn to just roll those punches, right, and bring them back. You got to pay. Somebody gives it to you, they got to pay. So
Wow.
that's it. That's how we ended up at De La O, is where we were at. I learned how to say his name properly. My apologies, John. But yes, De La O Jiu-Jitsu is where we were at. And even that's kind of been a misnomer, because oftentimes people think that we're just a jiu-jitsu school. And no, it's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
It's mixed, yeah.
So the Gym Crashers Gym, you also teach classes there.
We did. These are good. Just saying. I'm my new favorite. I wouldn't have to bring up the name. I don't want them to turn us off. But they're really good. Eric picked them up at a local liquor store. Love that. Gym crashes. So we had the mini dojo, which was connected to our podcast studio, and I was able to hang my instructor's flag. I asked him. I was already a brown belt, and I said, hey, I don't feel comfortable just putting my name up. Would it be cool if I represent you? And the idea was never to grow it for myself. It was a facility for basketball, soccer, volleyball, and I figured athletes will come up. I'll get them to the blue belt level and pitch them over to the school and keep growing our school.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
It was never about John Dondo Jiu-Jitsu. It was always, let's get the school, let's grow it, you know what I mean, and help the podcast and grow what we do. From there, we got an opportunity to work with Legends Boxing, which was a great opportunity because it gave us more exposure to fighters. Andy was there when he won his title, first Mexican heavyweight ever, and we were a part of that. So there's a holy time there, man, to be a part of that. And if you live in L.A., Orange County, and see, a first Mexican heavyweight, it's a big deal, man. That was a big deal for all of us. And so he came rolling up in a Rolls Royce after the fight, and I swear it's 20 family members. They went Mexican style in a Rolls Royce. They didn't even care it's a Rolls Royce. It was 20 people. I kid you not. They just kept coming out. I'm like, damn. They're just keeping it real.
Like
Whether they're rich or not, they brought the whole family.
Like the Mexican
You know
circus?
what I mean? Yeah, just love exactly. They just keep coming out. I'm like, Andy's keeping it real.
Deal.
You know what I mean?
Tío,
Yeah,
tia, the
everybody.
primo.
And they, it's interesting because it depends on where you're at. In that area, there's not a lot of jiu-jitsu. And it's a boxing gym. So, of course, culturally, they're looking at us like, what are you guys doing on the ground?
Yeah.
What in the hell are you guys doing? You know what I mean? There's a tough barrier to get over.
No, yeah, for sure.
Especially when you put them in the guard because that looks like something else.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, we ain't cool like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ran into a lot of people where they're like, no, that looks too gay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna get in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom is the same way.
Yeah.
She's like, nada más se abrazan y se dan besos y ya. And I'm like,
I hear it a lot.
But you
And-
tell her, esos son los que me gustan.
yeah, that's what
Huh?
that's what I like. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Ahí me matan.
I thought that too. I come from that same thought process that I'm not going to go to the ground. I'll just strike. I'm going to knock them out.
Yeah.
I'll keep it standing. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Division 1 wrestler put you on your back. You got to know how to swim.
Yeah.
Man,
Learn how to
dude.
swim, right?
Well, yeah, what I've heard is it's on a physical fight, you're gonna end up on the ground. It's like a 95%
Yeah.
that you're gonna end up on the ground.
Number one, you're going to end up tied up because
Yeah.
people that aren't swinging all the time get tired.
Yeah.
And everybody's seen a boxing match and you tie up. Even boxers do it when they're tired. You know what I mean? You end up just in that position. And then there's dirty boxing.
Yeah.
They don't know. People on the street don't know that. You know what I mean? We know that. Get enough space and elbow upwards, whatever you need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're tired. Obviously, we train for this. We're not as tired as the average person. Some of us are, like myself. But
Yeah, but you come across a judo guy.
yeah. Oh, no, throw you. Yeah, you never know what people know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But trying to keep it standing, like Mike said, it's going to end up on the ground. It's going to end up in a tie-up first, and then someone's going to go to the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we fight from our back too, so it's cool. We're cool with that.
Yeah.
We've learned.
Be comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable in all positions. Comfortable when you're not comfortable. That's the best place to be, right?
Yeah.
To find the worst position and just keep working that. Whatever the worst is for you, work it. Because if you can swim and you can keep alive in that, then everything else is cake, right?
Yep.
Swim in deep water. That's what they say.
Yeah.
You know. That's the truth.
Well, speaking on your first jiu-jitsu experience, what was your first jiu-jitsu experience like? Your first class, like?
Ooh, man, I was a kid, dude. Honestly, I can't really remember, but I just know getting my ass beat the first day.
Yeah.
That's how it goes, and I'm like, I don't know. I remember getting my ass kicked, and then after the class, thinking to myself, damn, I got my ass kicked, and I couldn't believe it, but I want to come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And you die. You just die 1,000 times over because you're not going to win. And then I got to figure out what they're doing.
Yep,
I thought
exactly.
I could figure it out in 6 months. I truly did.
Well, that's kind of what makes it exciting, right? It's just knowing that, like, oh man, that dude's fucking me up, like how. I was like, I want to learn how to do that. So like when the next new guy comes in, I can fuck him up the same way.
If you stick around just a few months, there's always that new guy, right? And then you're not the new guy anymore. So
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
But it's tough in the beginning, you know.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I've had a couple students that come in.
They pretty much, they don't straight out challenge, but they're like, yeah, I can do that, you know. Or they just come and watch, and they're like, oh, I just recently had a student come in, and he's like, yeah, I wanna see what it's like with you. I'm like, no, buddy, you need to go with them first.
yeah.
So
Well, there's a chain of command in everything that you do, and there's a respect level.
Oh, for sure.
exactly.
You know? And you don't just get to do that. Gosh, I've seen it over and over. And well, here's an interesting thing. Sometimes, you know, people walk through the door and your instructor will size the person up and say, hey, you know, take care of them. It happens a lot, right?
Yep.
There was a time when, I remember, and you don't know yourself how good you are or bad you are. You know that you're learning and you're progressing. Because you are tapping. You know that you can't just muscle through stuff. And you're also rolling against the same people day in, day out, hour after hour, week after week.
Yeah.
So it's hard to measure how good you might be versus how you were when you started because everyone's learning. And every once in a while, someone comes through that door, and then they throw the guy to the wolves, and you're one of the wolves, right? And then you know, right? Then you know because at first you think you can size people up, but you know they come out hard. But there's something that happens when you're trained to a person that's untrained. It just takes a little bit of time, maybe a minute, maybe two, maybe less. But even somebody that's strong and athletic, it could take a minute or two, and then you got them because they're leaving their neck exposed. They're leaving their arms out. And you're like, okay. Once you tap them once, then bam, then you got another thing. And then they're like, oh, my God, you got me 3 times in 3 minutes. Well, I was being nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you expose that through the grind. Because their athleticism and their muscles can, you know, it's a little bit unnerving at first. And then when you realize you have the upper hand, and forget it. You know, because it's only going to get you so far being strong.
Yeah.
You know, technique is it.
Yeah, and then going back on what you just said right now, as far as, you know, you're like, you train with, you know, your teammates, you know, hour after hour, round after round, you know, month after month and year after year, and they're the same group that you train with. But now that they brought this competition, you know, as far as jiu-jitsu, now you can practically sign up for a tournament and pretty much test yourself to see, you know, at what level you are. You know, obviously, you know, your belt rank level, but in that in that belt rank level, you can pretty much status yourself to see how, you know, how you're leveled up.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing is that all differences aside, you should test your abilities, no matter what you do. Right, to figure out where you're at. Yeah. And I do wonder about people that don't at least try one time. At least put yourself out there. You know what I mean? It's not for everyone. Competition is it's something that is for some of us, but not for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I relate to that because I have no inclination or aspiration to compete. Like I just want to train, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Am I willing to try it once just to see how it goes? Yeah, but and after that, I can't say that I would want to do it again.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, as in that subject right there, as far as like sport jiu-jitsu, I respect both. You know, from where we come from.
Yes, sir.
And then also the sports side of it, but I don't know. No disrespect or anything, but I think. Just with the sport jiu-jitsu, it seems like to me, like in the way I see things, that they've lost a lot of the tradition. Like, you know, a lot of them are out there on social media talking shit and being very disrespectful. And, you know, I just don't get it. Why does it have to be this way? Like, you know, I was taught, you know, when I first started, you know, there's a tradition, you know, working the mind, working the body, working the spirit. But it seems like with this sport jiu-jitsu, it's gone out the door, and it's just about being competitive. And like I said, I respect it, but like I just don't understand.
Yeah, I've seen some changes, and I think that's just growing pains.
Right.
Because it is still a martial art, and you still have to bring it back to its root at some point. You know what I mean? Maybe
Exactly.
we're just in that state right now where, and maybe with COVID it changes, because there were more jiu-jitsu places to train, whether it's inside somebody's yoga studio or whether you had your own place in an MMA place or
Somebody's
in a
backyard.
strip mall, backyard, garage. Before COVID, it was everywhere, more than Starbucks. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Really. So this unique thing that happened to the entire world with the pandemic, it weeds out, people that we stopped. I wasn't going to pay the rent on our place, and there's no way, So we
Exactly.
stopped right before it. So I was like, it's kind of a fortunate thing for us, but people that stayed in, that were fortunate to have a loyal family base of people that are training. It's great. And how do you do that when some people don't want to come in? How do you do that when you're not even sure yourself? Because the fear was there. Hey, should we be touching
definitely.
each other, breathing
Right.
on each other?
Yeah.
And this is a very, very close sport.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting time period. And I think with all that has happened, and a lot of those things I'm aware of too, and I don't like that, I think the tradition and the beautiful parts of the martial art will come forward. It's that time.
Yeah, exactly.
We need it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to throw dirt on anyone
Sure.
or I'm just.
It's a point.
I just want to understand, like, why did it have to kind of like bust a U-turn to being the way. I don't know how to explain myself, but
I know what you're saying.
I think you understand.
I do, and I think that because it's a male dominated thing. There's a lot of great ladies doing great things within jiu-jitsu and MMA right now, but it was male dominant, very testosterone driven, and
Yes.
with that comes ego. And when you have the ego, then you have a lot of those sentiments and the puffy chest and
Right.
that attitude, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where that comes from, but the beautiful thing about both mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu is everybody gets humbled. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Everybody has their
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So it just happens.
Yep.
So
Great. Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're
Alright.
gonna give it the time to our buddy Sideshow with a skit. Check it out; it's gonna be funny as fuck, and we'll be right back.
What's up, everyone? Sideshow here. Has COVID affected your training?
Boo.
Well, have no worries. The Jiu-Jitsu Dummy 3000 is here. Over there.
This state-of-the-art dog comes with the latest latex technology since the 1949 something. Our buddy Sideshow right here is going to demonstrate some moves you can do on the Jiu-Jitsu Dummy 3000. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to blow up, and it stands about 49 inches.
Oh, yeah? Technical difficulty. Okay. Did I forget to mention it comes with a 1-hour warranty? Us!
That's a whole 1 hour.
And if you order now, we'll include a second one for free. Us! You can even practice your rear naked chokes on the Jiu-Jitsu Dummy 3000. Us!
Order yours at 1-800-BJJ3000. Gi and white belt sold separately. We are not responsible for any damages done after the 1 hour warranty expires. Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed that skit. Shout out to our friend Sideshow, and let's get back to it.
cool. Where'd we leave off? What do you got for me?
All right, so let's talk about music.
Okay.
What role do you think music plays in martial arts?
Gosh, it's a tough question to ask a person like me because I consider myself a musician before anything else. Before surfing, before martial arts, I played music. I'm a guitar player. So that really is who I am. This is my shit. So people don't know that don't know me. There's all these different layers to who we are as people, and your closest people know, but other people, they don't really know what you're about. They see one thing. People don't think I have a job. They think I just do MMA stuff.
Oh, okay.
No, I have a job, bro. You don't pay me to do all that stuff. Not all of it. Some of it.
Some of it.
Some of it. But music is a very spiritual thing for a lot of people.
Yes.
We live in a time where people are taking all kinds of synthetic things to get through the day.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And music can supplement that. I feel really good when I listen to certain music. I don't need to put something in my body. It's put in my ears. You know what I mean? And, you have your on days and your off days just like anything else. But every once in a while, you can kind of strum onto something and then it's flowing. Like there's that time when you can write music. And everybody gets a little bit of writer's block from here, whether you're an author or a musician. But when it's flowing, it's just this magical thing.
Right.
But I think we find that in jiu-jitsu too. Some days, man,
Yeah, we're just not. Yeah, we're just out of it.
Yeah, and then other days we're just not in touch with it. Yeah. So the role of music in my life, speaking from martial arts and with surfing too, is this: there's always that soundtrack in my head. From the moment I get up, I mean, I hear it in my sleep, to be quite honest. Sometimes I wake up and it's there, like it's there. So that's probably why I was gravitated towards being a musician first and foremost before anything, is because of that. Is that the music's always there. So I know for me, there's a reason why there's a walkout song. You're pumping the dude up, the lady up, whoever it is. So walkout songs are key. Yeah. Whether it's a jiu-jitsu match or an MMA fight, there's still walkout music. That's a huge part of who you are. It also tells people what you're about, what your background is. You get a little bit of a vibe for people, whether the country boys have their stuff and our Mexican brothers come out to banda, they do whatever. So there's all that. We've seen it all, right? Wearing the flag over their shoulders, right? Yeah. So I think it tells us a story. Yeah. Not only just what they're wearing out and what they're representing. It tells us a story musically, and it can tell a story of how or what your style might be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we see it all the time with these fighters coming from Mexico, especially, right? Coming from Hawaii, we hear it, right? The reggae style, island style music. Yep. Right. So exactly. Or the guys coming from here, we know. So yeah, I think there's a connection because. Again, you're going to put in your best few hours of training, whether it be hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it might be. They better be pumping music, right?
So, a question: what genre do you more connect to?
Well, for me, I had very young parents, so I was exposed to Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Van Halen, and I loved that music because I grew up to it. Right. But that's my dad's music. There comes a time as in any young man's life where you start to make choices for yourself. And interestingly enough, about the time that I was, finding things on my own, maybe 11 or 12 years old, that's when the faster, harder stuff was starting to happen. Right. I'm sure Motorhead probably happened before that, but being a kid, you don't know exactly what that is. Yeah. I knew what Suicidal was because they're Mexican. You know what I mean? It appealed to me right away. Yeah. But even they hadn't crossed over; it was just punk rock. Right. But I dug it. I knew stuff was going on in Venice that I could identify with because they looked like me. They are beach people. So when you're a kid, that's what you gravitate towards, right? For sure. So I knew all about that, and I liked that to begin with. And then, of course, Metallica came. People don't know now when you talk about Metallica, they think the Black Album Forward. But
exactly.
There was a band that was dirty, what I mean? And it started it. I'm not ashamed to rep it because I know what that was, you know what I mean? But they may not know now. So I like that, of course, the thrash metal. It's LA music because I don't care what anyone says. Slayer's from right here in this hood.
Yeah, exactly. They're just down the street.
Down the street.
Down the street.
Downey is not too far, and James Hetfield went to Downey High School.
Exactly.
So there's 2 points right there. And then my hood, Huntington Beach, Dave Mustaine went to Marina High School. Lars went to Back Bay High School in Newport. Well, that's already 3/4 of the big four, other than Anthrax. Exactly. You know what I mean? I get it. They moved to San Francisco, but the big four is Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, and that's a lot of LA right there. Yeah. And then Anthrax on the East Coast. So, they moved to the Bay Area, and the Bay Area was more welcoming to the heavier music. For sure. Right. But that kind of music, I think it came out from here. Yeah, it came right here in the streets of LA.
So, tell us a little bit about, like, back in the day, like, backyard shows, gigs, like, what kind of experience did you have going to shows back then? Because I know, like, right now, even with this whole COVID stuff, like, definitely no shows right now. But even before COVID, they've been cracking down, and it's been a while since I've heard of a backyard or house gigs or anything. But tell us a little bit about, your experiences from back then.
Well, if you're going to go way back, so it's in the 80s, dude. I mean, there was two
Oh, I
kinds.
love these stories.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Where's the
it's where we
popcorn
came
at?
from,
I need
yeah.
some popcorn.
Especially in LA. So in the 80s, people's that aren't from here, their only real reference would be like the movie Colors.
Right.
You know, because that's when they really kind of captured the gang life in LA. And I know we're talking about music, but when you look like me or you two, and you go to a show, the parking lot's full of a lot of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of those dudes were in gangs. Especially go to a suicidal show at Santa Monica Civic. You know what I mean? So there you're fighting again.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting to your car, sometimes throwing a beer can at somebody. So it was tough then, and the backyard shows were cool. In Huntington Beach, it was more punk. You could see almost anybody in Huntington Beach. Bad Religion, D.I. D.I. was an Orange County band. Circle Jerks, all those guys. They all came through at some point, and you could catch them either at a small club. We had the Golden Bear, and then we had all kind of backyard stuff. And then Costa Mesa had some stuff too nearby.
Right.
So there was some stuff going on there. But yeah, backyard parties were cool. It was really a cool thing to see Ravage Realm here in Watts.
Yeah.
Because it was the same. It
Yeah,
was
it was the
it was
same.
no different than that. Although people are more respectful in Watts. I'm just going to tell you that because I can remember like people being on a roof and the roof caving in. That didn't happen over here in Watts. Somebody would
No, well, you have to realize that right now we're in what? When was that? When we were out there? Maybe
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what? Like 2018,
Something like that.
2019.
Yeah.
So
Seems like
those
yesterday.
those days are different from
Yeah.
back in the days.
Oh yeah.
Because I was telling Eric, and the last episode that we had, when I used to go to gigs, man, there was all kinds of crazy shit going on. You know,
Sure,
you'll be
sure.
walking down the driveway, and you'll see, someone's mom out there with,
Oh, yeah.
some guy from school or some shit.
Poor guy. I feel sorry for that guy. Sorry if it was me.
Hey, that's Dondo.
Hey, you never know. But when I was a kid, it was different. So punks had their crowd, the metal kids had their crowd.
Very separated, right?
Yeah. The hip hop kids were in their crowd. The athletes kind of had their crowd. But I was like, I think I was kind of unidentifiable. I did my own thing. Like I just had friends. I grew up in the neighborhood, so I was care what
Yeah.
you listen to or what you do. With my,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always kind of blurred the lines. I didn't really pay
right.
attention to that so
Exactly.
much. Friends all over. But yeah, when you go to shows, it was a trip to see people that weren't necessarily down with your scene, and they were there, and they're like, "What the
Exactly.
hell?" That was a trip. That was weird, right? But you're right. I think the '80s were like what people of our age thought of the '60s.
Yeah.
Because looking back now, there was a lot of sex. There was, especially in the music scene. You know what I
Right.
mean? We were getting away with murder, especially if you went because everybody puts down Hollywood, but if you were running around Hollywood in 1986, 1987, 1988. Oh my God, the women outnumbered the men like 10-1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we probably looked like women because our hair was down to our back. Middle of our back. So those were fun times. That's what you guys are getting at. Those were good times. You're young and dumb, and
Full of cum.
well, maybe you.
Maybe you.
I left mine. But my mom and my dad, they could probably tell you some horror stories. So because I wasn't shy, like I just bring them home. You know what I mean? And they like, what the fuck is this? Oh, sorry, she's leaving now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I had
She's on her way out.
I had young parents,
Yeah.
so I didn't have that because my friends didn't have that. They would come to my house.
Oh.
And my friend would be on the floor with one. I'd take the bed. You're not getting in my bed. Get on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
And I always had a window so people could, bail out of the window.
Oh,
I was known
okay.
for that. Yeah, like they'd knock on the window and come on in or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing. So yeah, it was a different world. We looked different. Things were different. It was more simple.
Yeah.
And there were gangs and stuff, but they were your cousins and stuff too. Like you were
Yeah.
down with people, so you didn't have to run. You just had to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's again, it ties back into fighting once again because life is going to be that way. It's always going to throw you a challenge, whether it's a person, an obstacle, whatever it might be, and maybe that's what lures us back to MMA and Jiu-Jitsu is that it might be your 10,000th day of training. You're going to still come to an obstacle of some sort that you need to overcome. I don't care if it's your
Yeah,
first day
exactly.
or your 10 years in it. You're going to go in that same school with those same guys, and there's going to be a new obstacle, and you have to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And it helps you in your daily life, and it does. It helped me in my music, because there's things I didn't think were achievable, but I stuck with it and keep playing, and now I'm different. I'm different than I was 2 years ago, So, and that's what it's all about.
And that's good, because you're evolving, as an individual. Question: as far as you being a musician, did you experience with any bands back then?
Oh yeah, yeah. In high school, man, I was in a straight edge band. I wasn't straight.
Yeah.
Maybe for a few months. Put the X on my hand. I had long hair too, but these bald kids wanted to play with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh man, you play guitar and you play heavy stuff." So maybe nobody else did that, so they invited me to come jam with them. It was called Inner Strength. That was the big thing, Huntington Beach.
Oh, okay.
Straight edge. Everybody had X's on their hand.
Yeah.
Count me out.
Oh, okay.
Meanwhile, I'm in my car going. Spray the perfume and go do my thing. But they all got into that very shortly after. It didn't last for them either. So yes, we were straight edge for a minute, 2 minutes.
So you guys were playing what? Heavy metal?
No, they wanted to play just straight hardcore. Like New York
hardcore?
hardcore was the thing, and then of course straight edge like Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah,
Judge.
exactly. Yeah.
And I really love that. Like, again, I don't really have those lines. Like, I just like certain things, and I like straight edge music too. And at that time, I was really into it because there was a scene in Huntington Beach. So those were the shows. It was bonds of friendship and, pick up your brother when he falls on the ground. There's a time when you step on people's foreheads for, when they're on the ground, and people are wearing spikes and grinding your face into it. But there's also the other side, and the straight edge guys would help people up. And they were cool, and they were tough, too. They were nicer about it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we all know, you go to a grindcore show, a guy comes out with nails on, he's swinging his arms in the middle of the show. He don't care if you get hit with a nail.
Just like those Slayer, huh? Those Slayer ones?
I didn't get to, because I was the generation after those guys had already gotten big, Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth. So I didn't get to see the backyard parties with those guys.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That they had already, I saw Metallica at Long Beach Arena with Ozzy.
Okay, so they're already playing arenas.
Master of Puppets.
Oh, wow.
That's
man.
what I called them, yeah. So, they're...
Cliff Burden?
Cliff was there, yeah. So that was cool, but I didn't see him like in a backyard. I do have a picture on my Instagram of me and Lemmy in Santa Monica. That's a good one. And from then, I got to whip it out and show you guys. Because, you run into Lemmy from here because he transplanted from England to Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
He loved it here. That's why they buried him here. So, again, more LA stuff.
Yeah,
crazy,
exactly.
Right?
Everybody gets attached to LA, huh?
I think so. The weather's good. We have a lot of variety.
Exactly.
There's a good mix of people, and anything you want to do, you can do.
Yeah.
Year round. Throw on a wetsuit, you still go to the beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have it.
Yeah. So even though there's a lot of people leaving, there's a lot of people coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I question that because, and I know from where I'm at, because Long Beach is a good reference. It was always very, it's right around the corner from Huntington Beach. You can only go Huntington, Seal, and Long Beach.
Yeah.
But it was very urban, and that was highly populated. A lot of converted homes into apartment buildings. So you got multiple families living in one building. And now that same thing over the course of 25, 30 years is happening, and there's more traffic, there's more people, more converting. Yeah. So there's no more space. You can't build anywhere, but there's more people. There's nowhere to park.
Right.
That's how you know. There's nowhere
that's
to park.
The same issue we have here.
Yeah. And exactly. So
we have neighbors, you know.
Exactly. And it's not cool. It's not cool. Yeah, you fight over it, absolutely. But so I think California as a whole is becoming overpopulated.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to go kick it in places I kicked it when I was young because everybody's not from there. It bugged the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's one of the things I came across a buddy of mine. He I don't remember exactly. He's not a buddy of mine. He's just an acquaintance that I just met. He asked me. He just came from the East Coast, and he was out here, and he's like, "Hey, why do?" He just approached me and asked me, "Why are people in LA so fake?" I'm like, "What?"
Oh, like, I know who you're talking about.
That threw me off. I was like,
I heard that conversation.
I go, I don't know, man. And then I thought about it, and I didn't have a way to answer because that kind of just threw me off.
Yeah.
But it just stuck to me, and I'm just like, why would he say that? But then I started kind of like just thinking about it, and trying to understand why would someone ask me this, but then I came to a conclusion where a lot of people here from LA that are living like now here, there's a large group that are not originally from LA. So that's what we call those transplants, right?
That's right. It's a fact.
So, people come from
They
different
claim it.
states, they come from different countries, and they come here to LA, and then they rep LA, but they're not originally from LA. So, I don't know, I guess they might have mistaken people that, came from other places to live here to the people that are originally from here.
It's an interesting thing, and I know who said that, and he's not from here, but he moved here and claims that he wants to stay here. So he doesn't hate it here. So it's easy to point the finger. But I think the statement was brought to him by someone from where he's from.
Oh, okay.
That's how I would see it, because then he feels like, well, why is it that way? And it's asking us who are from here. It's like, dude, no, it isn't that way.
And I'm not trying to throw a curveball or anything. It's just there's something that just because we were talking about LA and then this came up, but I'm not trying to
I know you're not throwing shade.
be a dick or anything,
No.
This kind of just
We're not
threw
naming
me
names.
off, But I was just like, I don't know.
I think people's perception is an interesting thing, and whether he's right or wrong, that's an argument to be had by all kinds of different people. I think he's wrong personally, but because I have my own perception of LA.
Right.
But a good example, Hawaii. So many people. Oh, the people are so nice, isn't that? I'm like, okay, there's aloha in the hotel. They're being nice.
Right.
You're paying to come there.
Exactly.
Go ahead and go kick it in the neighborhood. Watch what happens.
Yeah,
It's
get
like
your
LA.
ass kicked.
It's the same thing as LA. It's the same. And I love that. I love the dirt and the grit and the realness of it, because that, it's different from what people perceive it, but their experiences are different. So we all see and feel different things about certain places. So he may not be entirely wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not what we know to be true.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I grew up in Orange County. I was born in LA County, but I grew up in Orange County.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of myself anything other than a Southern California guy, because I kick it in San Diego too. I'll go down to Encinitas and surf a weekend, and I don't feel like I'm not from there. You know what I mean? I love it there. Moonlight Beach. You know what I mean? That's my spot. But I'll still go up and do Port Hueneme, and that part of things. That's still Southern California. It's home for us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't feel like I'm not from there.
Yeah.
So I think there's a perception on TV.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then if you're one of those people who are coming here to become that, and go look at that sign on the side of the hill that says Hollywood, you're gonna see that, but we don't even know the sign's there. We drive right past it.
I don't even drive by there. It's been years.
And we're not hoping to do all that. So
like when I have fucking family members from Mexico, like oh, I want to go see the Hollywood sign. I'm like, are you sure, man? Like, oh, I want to walk the fucking the path with all the stars. I'm like,
hey, I kind of understand. Recently, we were driving through El Paso, and I stopped so I could look at the sign that said Juarez. I had to do it. I actually wanted to cross, but Robert said I didn't bring my passport, so I would have crossed.
Yeah.
I haven't been over there. I want to get over there, check it out.
Man, dude, that's funny, man.
We all looking to see
dude.
something new, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. So, of course, your family coming, maybe for the first time, that's one of the things.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not that great, but let's go look at it real quick. You know what I mean? You can stand on the roof and see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that far from here.
It's funny because I get the same thing. Family members from that come from Mexico, they want to go do those things, and I do look at them pretty weird. I'm like, you really want to go do that? Like I don't know, man. As being a born and raised in LA, like. I don't go to those places. I just stay in my little hood right here. Just Southgate, Linwood, South Central.
That's only partially true because I see you on a surfboard in Redondo Beach, El Porto.
Yeah, partially true.
You'll come jump on a boat with me in Newport Beach.
Yeah.
So
hey, I started opening up a little bit more.
Yeah.
I started opening.
Your borders are bigger.
I started going to the beach a bit more, hanging out with the bums.
I like it.
And then, just throw my chair out there, just chill, enjoy the breeze.
But you're a great
smell.
example. You're here in Southgate. You already told me you were born and raised in LA, but you spend your time on a surfboard.
I do.
Because it's
True.
still your
It's true.
hood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's so nice out there, though. You know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think everybody's cool.
Yeah. Out here, you know, you try to park across the street and they want to kill you.
It's a fact. That's a fact. That's what I hear. I still parked out there. I wasn't sure who's coming. I'm like, I'll leave a space for someone.
Yeah, just not so long ago, one of our neighbors, he parked across the street. He said that he parked in front of this neighbor across the street, and that the neighbor came out with the bat and was standing there kind of just like shrugging the bat, like, yeah, you can't park there. I was like, what?
What happens when someone takes the bat from you? That's what I always wonder
I
about
don't know,
people. What happens to these people that wave weapons that don't know how to use them? Because they're
Yeah.
waving a weapon for a reason. Number one, they're worried about something.
Yeah.
They don't want you to get the upper hand.
Yeah.
Somebody ducks that thing or even just takes one. Sometimes you just take one
Yeah.
because you can.
Yeah.
And then you take it away from them, and then what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
You know, but I'm just, throwing it out there. Just, I don't know, man.
No,
I
it
don't know
pisses me
how,
off.
How, there's no point to get to that. And
We're in a situation where it's becoming overcrowded everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I know my neighborhood's getting overcrowded. The traffic is bad. In the summertime, try to drive down PCH. Forget
Oh,
it. You might as well buy a bicycle. You'll get there
Yeah.
quicker. You know?
especially those electric ones, huh?
Hell yeah. I dig those. I actually dig that stuff. Those are cool. But I think
Out here, they don't use those electric ones. They got those little motorcycles on,
Yeah.
and they're going down these big streets on
Fucking
on
hauling ass
Firestone,
and
hauling
shit.
ass, dude.
Yeah.
No helmet.
that's crazy. It's funny. I used to, because I rode motorcycles my whole life. It's another thing I do. I like motorcycles. Got my first motorcycle when I was 8 years old. Yep, a little Honda CR. Now I got a
Yeah.
Harley. But I was never big on helmets. But yeah, we know now from fighting, of course, the trauma that can happen to the head and the injuries that can happen. And of course, with an overpopulation of people, accidents are left and right.
Yeah,
and
dude.
we witness them. So it's no joke. Helmets are important. There was a
Dude.
time when I didn't think so, but yes, they're important.
A couple of days ago, I went to go drop off my son at his house in South Central. There was one of these bikes, these little bikes that I'm telling you about. This kid was I think the most, he was probably like, I don't know, like 13 years old. And he was hauling ass down the street.
They do 40.
No helmet. He hit the traffic and he's like, fuck this. And he started going on the sidewalk. And he just started hauling ass. People walking on the sidewalk, he didn't give a fuck and shit.
It's gonna
Damn.
it's not gonna work well for some people because we got like a 3-lane and there's a middle lane and this lane over here can turn left and the one on the right people come out of the driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where they're flying 40 miles an hour on a bike. All it
Dude,
takes
man.
is one dipshit to just pull out a little bit and then bam, and they don't mean it. You know what I mean? They're just poking their head out.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do? It's a motorcycle. They should treat it like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
If it does above like 25, because you get pretty hurt.
But if you're riding a motorcycle, you should at least be putting a helmet on.
No, yeah, no, I get it. I've literally flown 40 feet in the air and my motorcycle landed on top of me. I walked away from it.
Damn.
I'm doing probably 40 miles an hour, hit a wall, walked away from it. Really,
Dang.
bent the forks, didn't bend me.
Fucking Christ.
I hit it just right. So I know.
Just right.
I lifted my leg at the right moment. I don't know, but yeah,
You got the right timing.
I just got lucky. I've been getting lucky.
Fucking forward rolled after that.
I've had. We talk about this, as friends about the other side a little bit. We talk
Yeah.
about some spiritual stuff. We talk about the connection with people that have moved on.
Right, exactly.
Have passed on, should say. There was a time when I was under a boat, true story, and the boat gunned it, and the propeller whipped up my back. Looked like Indiana Jones whipped me up.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
but when you get impact to your back, because the propeller, it didn't cut me. I was just deep enough, and that's probably a millimeter, to be just deep enough where it didn't cut me, but it whipped me. So my back looked like Zorro got me.
Oh, man.
And what happened was, from the impact to the spine, I became paralyzed. Momentarily, thank God it wasn't my whole life, but all of a sudden I couldn't move, so I'm just floating and holding my breath because I was conscious. And then my dad grabbed me out of the water.
Oh,
He's like,
damn.
dude, I didn't know you were down there. They ran me over. It's a true story.
Wow.
Near death, you know what I mean? Those kind of things. And I was fading out. There's a couple other ones. So I've, other than those motorcycle
Yeah.
stories, there's been some other ones where I was close, man.
Fuck.
You're being watched over.
I crossed my fingers.
Oh, man.
Crossed my.
Yeah.
Here's a story I never share on camera, but my mom's big into. She does the psychic thing, the medium thing. Reiki.
Yeah.
She's similar to someone else I know. And she had brought me like as a kid to probably a medium, I guess you would call it. And they said an Indian would stand up next to me. And then I'm looking around like they're talking to the guy, you know what I mean? And they had brought up the fact that they were there at the Alamo. So we were passing through on a recent trip. And I don't know, I forgot about all that. And then right when I got to the Alamo, I went and took a leak there. Here's a true story. It's all hot. You're in all these rooms, right, checking it out, the Alamo. And the guy comes up to me. He's a curator. He says, do you know why it was really cool in one room? And I'm like, yeah, I was standing in there because it was too hot. And I'm like, no, why is it really cold in here? He's like, this is where the majority of people died.
Oh,
like,
dang.
I start tiptoeing out of here. He's all, no, the air conditioner works in here, dude. I'm like, he totally threw me. I was like believing him. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get out of here now. Don't want any of y'all coming home with me. You know what I mean? You never know.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yes, chicken shit. Well, there was a horror film on when I came here, so yeah. I was like, oh, I won't be able to sleep tonight. Take it easy, guys. Trip a brother out.
Yeah. Well, man, thank you for coming along.
Thank you. You
Yeah,
guys
we
are
really
amazing.
appreciate you coming out. Thank you for this sweater.
Heck yeah, you gave me tons of stuff.
Gym Crashers.
Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Dondo the Gym Crasher. I have a Facebook. It just says John Dondo. I don't really use it other than when it is business related. It's good to have that for business, I guess, is what they tell me. Delo Jiujitsu, I'm there all the time. That's my home dojo. And, if you can find Mike Hermosillo and my buddy Eric, I'll probably be close by.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Appreciate
You got it.
Yeah.
So make sure you check out his stuff and make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, the Hippie and the Mutt.
Hippie in the Mutt.
Hippie in the Mutt, man.
I dig it.
Thank you for everything, man.
you, man,
It was
for coming.
a wonderful time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's on camera. We can't hide from it now.
Thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you guys fucking next time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Incredible.